Hi, Gabe Teran, Oxnard resident, and I'm here to do another really quick update for you on the 2024 Oxnard election. This is the follow-up to the finance check that I had done a couple weeks back. So this is for the reporting period up through October 19th. So let's just jump right into it. So it's probably no surprise that there is one candidate who has far outpaced all the other candidates as far as contributions has gone. And just to go ahead and reveal the names here, we have Mr. Aaron Starr, who has thus far raised $79,345. As I'll talk about in a little bit, 75,000 of that is from his own money, his own contributions to his own campaign. The closest one to that would be Brian McDonald at $55,702. And you can see the rest of the candidates up through the recording of this video, according to their 460 filings. Now, as a quick recap on that, we have District 3, where Mr. Starr is running for the city council seat at 16,767 voters. And then we have Brian McDonald running for a citywide race for the mayor's seat at 96,783 voters. An interesting point that Mr. Aaron Starr had made at a recent community meeting was around the cost per voter for this race in particular. And so I thought I'd use his own thoughts and logic to kind of do a calculation on that. So when we look at amount raised per voter, when we look at Star in District 3, based on 16,767 voters at $79,345, that calculates to approximately $4.73 raised per voter. When we look at the next closest person, again, Brian McDonald, who's running for a seat that all of Oxnard gets to vote on, at 96,000 voters at $55,702 raised, we have about 58 cents per voter raised. So I hope you can see the difference there in the amount of money being poured into these races. Again, one is just for a district city council seat, the other is for the entire city at large. So just as I did last time, because Mr. Starr is the candidate who has raised the most thus far, let's do a quick breakdown and let's look at District 3 as a race specifically. So when you look at just the raw numbers according to the financial filings, we have Mr. Starr at $79,345, followed by Oscar Madrigal, the incumbent, who has thus far raised $5,869. And again, Mr. Rasmussen and Mr. Lopez, they have filed 470s, which means that they anticipate raising or spending less than $2,000 in their respective races. So let's dive into that $79,000 that Mr. Starr has raised thus far. When we look at the sources of those contributions, the majority of it, $75,000, comes from Starr himself. And you can see the little sliver of that donut there comes from a number of other sources. So let's again zoom into that little tiny sliver to see how that breaks down. When you zoom in on it, you can see that we have some carryover from the previous reporting period with some additions of a few new folks here. Los Altos Hills, Dublin, Simi Valley, and then some additional undisclosed contributions. And again, the undisclosed contributions are less than $100, and he's not required to disclose the details of those contributors. So again, zooming out on this, we want to remind ourselves that the little sliver that we're looking at is part of the massive $75,000 of self-funded portion of his campaign. How many folks from the city of Oxnard themselves have contributed to Starr's campaign? When we look at it in that lens, we see that we have the green section, which is residents of Oxnard who have contributed, and the blue portion is those who live outside of Oxnard at 75.8%. For what it's worth, the Oxnard residents, at 15.3%, consists of two people. One is someone who contributed in the previous reporting period, $100. In this reporting period, it was the current city treasurer, Mr. Phil Molina, contributing the maximum amount, and that is $564. So those are two people who have been disclosed as contributing to Mr. Starr's campaign who actually live in Oxnard. So when we look at the District 3 race again, if we eliminate the self-funded portion, we can see where $4,869 is contributed by residents to Oscar Madrigal's campaign and 4345 from folks to Starr's campaign. And again, if we look at it just through a lens of Oxnard residents, we can see that about $3,500 has come from Oxnard residents to Madrigal's campaign versus two individuals at $664 for Starr's campaign. And again, this measurement is for individuals or organizations based out of Oxnard. So to close things out here, let's take another quick look at the spending. In the previous video, I had mentioned about this consulting organization that Mr. Starr is working with for his campaign. I do have to correct myself where I stated there was $14,000 last time. It was actually $13,000, but that evens out because it was $1,000 he owed to those folks, which he did pay during this reporting period. So as of the October 19th second reporting period for this campaign, he has paid $21,029 approximately to this consulting organization. An interesting thing noted in his campaign filings is that he's actually in debt to these folks by about $20,500. And so in the next reporting period, I anticipate he would have to pay off that debt. You may recall also that he had a large amount of expenditures going towards this company that makes these very lifelike looking handwritten cards, but are all printed, pre-printed. And as of the end of this reporting period, he's paid $15,843.94. You may also recall I talked about slate mailers in the previous video. And in this particular reporting period, we see that he did receive a refund from both of the slate mailer companies that he had paid previously. All right, so that closes out this video. Please remember to vote by November 5th. Regardless of what district you're in, we have a mayoral race, we have the city clerk and the city treasurer. Remember also that we have state and national elections going on as well. It is not only a right, but a privilege for many to vote. So I hope you don't take that for granted and you remember to do so by the November 5th deadline. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you in the next video.